This right here is the Acer Aspire Vero 15. It's an eco-conscious laptop that is honestly pretty good and doesn't have any sort of major outstanding flaws. If you were to go pick one of these up today, you'd honestly probably be pretty happy. But let's take a closer look at it. In the box, you get kind of a bulky barrel connector style 65-watt charger, and my particular model came with a laptop bag. And of course, you get the laptop. The design of this is obviously what makes it stand out. You have this unpainted recycled finish that's sort of textured all the way around with these little colored specks of plastic to just give it some contrast. Acer even claims that the keycaps are made out of mostly recycled materials. And speaking of the keyboard, it's pretty good. It's got this nice initial firmness to it. Once it actuates, it's a really nice snappy actuation. The actual travel of the keys is pretty short, but that's because this is a pretty thin laptop. But the keyboard is definitely a win. As for the trackpad, it's actually a glass top surface with a built-in fingerprint sensor, and that works pretty well. I don't have any complaints. I'm not gonna get too into the weeds about how much of this device is recycled and the percentages and whatnot, because if you're anything like me, it matters more that this is a good laptop first rather than being 100% recycled or whatever. I mentioned that this was pretty thin. It's a pretty standard size. It's 0.7 inches thin and it's just under 4 pounds. I think it's about 3.8. So it's not the thinnest or lightest laptop, but it is very portable. The I/O is definitely above average. You get 2 full-size USB-A ports, a full-size HDMI, 2 Thunderbolt ports, which is really nice, that of course support charging and all that, a headphone jack, Kensington lock, and you got your Vero plug there if you, for whatever reason, if you wanted to charge that way instead of USB. So for better or for worse, it's an Intel laptop. It's got a i7-1355U, so it has 2 P cores and then 8 E cores. And then the 2 P cores have hyperthreading, the E cores do not. Honestly, this is my first experience with the P core, E core design, and it seems to get the job done pretty well. Battery life is around 7 hours with this 56 watt-hour battery in here. So it's a decent size and the processor is decently efficient. Doing normal tasks, opening a bunch of programs, opening a bunch of Chrome, Firefox tabs, or whatever, it all is handled very easily. Obviously, it's no powerhouse by any means, but that's not really the point, is it? It's meant to be sort of snappy performance, responsive performance, without destroying your battery in 32 minutes. I did actually edit the unboxing for this laptop on the laptop, cutting around and scrubbing and stuff like that. It was no big deal. It could handle that perfectly fine, even in like balanced mode. But when I did go to render the video, it took a while. It was 4K footage and it wasn't too long. It wasn't unacceptable. You could definitely do some light editing on this if you wanted to. It has the Iris Xe graphics, and this particular generation of them aren't the best. I would expect some lighter titles, some older titles at about low 1080p, around 60 FPS. You could definitely do some gaming on here as well, but that's not really what it's meant for. The screen is a 1920 by 1080, 15.6 inch screen. It's an IPS. It is at 60 Hertz, but it's got pretty good color accuracy and the contrast is also pretty good. In terms of temps on this guy, I think the maximum I ever saw was 75 Celsius, and that was during a Cinebench run. The combination of this cooling system is actually kind of a little overkill for this laptop, and then just the processor doesn't suck that much power. It stays pretty cool. And I do have to give a shout out to this vent location. I've never had a laptop with this before, but obviously it sucks air in from the bottom and then it spits it out at the top here up towards the screen, so your legs don't get toasted when it's just sitting on your lap. I've never had a laptop with that feature and it's actually really nice. One problem I had with this laptop, and still kind of do, is the fan curve. It seems to be kind of pointlessly aggressive for no real reason. On the BIOS that was shipped with this, it was kind of crazy. The fans would ramp up insanely high for no reason and then ramp down and would continue doing that forever basically. After I updated the BIOS, it still does that a little bit. It'll be at like 55, 60 degrees Celsius and the fans will be kind of kicking on a little more than you would expect, but it's not too bad. And I found that if you put it in eco mode, that almost makes it almost completely silent. Passive, I should say. And I didn't really notice any major performance issues with doing normal day-to-day tasks with that mode on. So now it is time for price. This retails for 800 United States dollars, and I don't think I would pay that because this is usually on sale. I got this one from Best Buy for $560, and at that price, it's a pretty good deal. There are a lot of other laptops that are spec'd very similarly to this, but some of them don't have stuff like the glass trackpad or the DDR5. It just depends. So I think this is slightly above average in terms of features and specs. But at the end of the day, the Acer Aspire Vero it's a good laptop and it's a pretty good value too. And especially if you are factoring in this design, if you get value from that, then yeah, I'd say go ahead and buy it. Thanks for watching.